Welcome to the second instalment of my trail cam series. If you watched the last video, I finished off with the camera overlooking this well-used trail, and initially I had some issues with the foliage obscuring the view, but I managed to sort that out come the end of the video. And the next week or so here was pretty productive. Managed to get the fox on several occasions. It seemed as if this was a regular track used by this fox, and he seemed to pause and feed on the handful of cat biscuits that I'd laid out in front of the camera. Really pleased to get quite a clear image of a badger. So I'm really quite keen to figure out where that set may be. And I must admit, a couple of the shots I didn't realise quite what it was the camera was picking up on, but when I looked very, very closely, there seemed to be some very small mice in the view, which was really lovely. So probably field mice. What really intrigued me was the height in which they could jump. But presumably, if this was something that you didn't want to film, you could reduce the sensitivity and therefore cut down the probability of something as small as this triggering the camera. But it appeared as if here, you can see he's just picked up one of those cat biscuits. So I decided to move up for the next couple of weeks, the last couple of weeks just gone, to another part of the woods. I'm trying to work my way round the woods to see if I can gain just a little bit of information about each position. So this is the second position for this video. Placed here a couple of weeks. Thought that initially it was going to be a sort of quite a good position. Again, there's another clear path that they're using quite regularly past it. Nice and clear. Back to the road, so they've got a little bit of cover from the back of them, and they can see quite a bit out in front. A couple of evenings, I don't know whether this is just facing into the rain, but the camera was a bit exposed, and the camera was a bit covered with some raindrops and obscured. Well, could have been quite a nice bit of footage of a couple of Muntjac. Looks as if they were both females, so that would have been nice if it was a bit clearer. I've never seen two together, unless, of course, it was a youngster, but I sort of say it was a bit obscured, so I couldn't say. With the amount of rain we've had, I think you're just getting little droplets possibly onto the camera. The solar panel sort of projects a little way forward, covering, I guess, most of the rain that comes down, but this must have been sort of driven in from the front. But as they move around, you just get a bit of a clearer view of them. So they look very similar size, and to my mind, both look female. What amazes me is the fact that the roe deer can faithfully follow the tracks at night. I can imagine being right out in the countryside here, there wouldn't be much background light to illuminate sort of inside the woods here, so they must know these different tracks pretty well. So this is a 3-minute clip which I cut down to show the fact that the female passed first, followed by the male. And now, as he gets a little bit closer, it just looks as if the left hand antler, as we see it, just looks a little bit stunted, not fully grown. Whether he's just lost his antlers and therefore is a point of renewal. So this is one of the rare times that in this woods anyway that we see fallow deer. Instantly we just see sort of singular deer. Very rarely do we see even the smallest of herds. Experience a bit of, well, possibly user error. This last week, I'm going to come on a Saturday, check the footage today, and nothing. So whether when I reset it up again, didn't turn it on properly, didn't set it up correctly, so that's a bit of a failing on my part. So I've decided to pack it up in my bag and move to a different position for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So it's going to be, I think, probably the other end of the woods. I'm going to try that end. So I've tried 3 different positions so far. Haven't got any real information about the far end of the wood. So let's give it a go there. I've found the position I want. Come to the far end of the woods. And although there wasn't much in the way of tracks, roe deer tracks or muntjac tracks as I came in, this looks really promising. You've got a tree down, you've got the top of it's quite shiny, it looks as if they've been walking across the top of it, and then you've got a distinct track that looks pretty worn, and it comes all the way past me. It looks pretty dense in there, so it could be where the badger set is. I don't really want to go traipsing in there as yet. Just want to give it a couple of weeks here and just see what I get. Yeah, looks promising. Let's see what comes. So I normally only visit the camera sort of once a week on the Saturday, but because I was not confident that I made a bit of a user error last time, and I just wanted to go back the following day just to check to see that everything was okay, and just had a single shot of this badger moving around this log, so that was really pleasing. But it did show up the fact that I possibly needed to make some slight adjustments to the camera, so I just moved it slightly to the left just to see whether I could catch them a little bit more over the following weeks. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I must admit I'm enjoying the idea of the little window, if you like, using the trail cam as a little window into their environment, seeing them quite relaxed. And I must admit there is a certain buzz to, on the Saturdays coming up to the trail cam, opening up, plugging in just to see what you've got. It's really enjoyable. And with the early sides of spring, I must admit it's quite an exciting time for the bird photography. So hopefully you join me for a cup of coffee in the next one.